Yeah, I'm excited about what's happening. We have a lot of things coming up. Obviously, the new year. We had a wonderful 2020. You know, it was so many wonderful things that happened for, people that we don't understand why it's wonderful, but I'm I'm hoping that maybe some of the information that comes out from today from the channels, channel entities will explain to us why 2021 is going to be, maybe a step up, and and maybe we'll get rid of the mask at some point. And that was the point of the idea of authenticity, and why I feel like that's perhaps what this is kind of about, forcing us to confront ourselves and to lay down the mask that we've always been carrying around. And I look to channelers as my teachers. The ones here are definitely have been my teachers and friends, and I'm always have an open ear for any information that you have. I know it comes from that space of the heart, and it's I think that's why everybody has come today to to join in. And in the questions that people can pose will be in certain sections. So in the beginning, it will be a little discussion amongst us and the channelers about being a blended being and what it's like to be a channeler. And then questions can be posed on the channelers from the audience. Those questions really just focus on the channelers, because afterwards they will be doing the channeling, and then you can ask the entities themselves any questions you may have. Again, on the Q&A section, just type in, raise your hand, or type in a question, and Roxanne or I will, click on the link that lets you speak and ask your question. Maybe we can start a little bit with the discussion, get into this idea a little bit about what it's like to be a channeler and the idea of authenticity. So if these beings are coming through you, these energies, how is that affecting you in your human form? What are your struggles? Maybe we can start with that. Like, what are the things you really struggle with? Maybe we can start with you, Isabelle, since you're on my left here.
Before we start, can you introduce everyone?
Yes, we didn't do that yet. Okay, wow.
No.
I didn't introduce you, Roxanne. You were definitely introduced, but you're not channeling today. You're just the co-host. And Isabelle Zimmerman, she's a channel, and the entities you channel are the Crystal Light Collective, right?
Yeah, you got it.
Exactly. And David Strickel, he channels the stream. And my bottom left is Jennifer Wan. She channels the Akashic Record. And right below me is Kimberley Late, and she channels Beings of the Light. And yeah, I think
Good job.
Yes, I got that. And I'm a big fan of all of you guys. I've all the information I get on podcasts, YouTube, spoken with you, but all a little bit of a taste, a little bit of a different, it's the same message or the same heart place, love place, but from a perspective that sometimes in one moment I feel more drawn, to what Roxanne is saying, and then maybe the next moment Isabelle. Just I think we like to get hit with different angles of frequency, and so I'm kind of excited having all of you guys here, all this energy coming in to express itself in so many forms. And so maybe going into the new year, we want to think about a little bit how 2020 has been a lot of change, a lot of challenges, the idea of hiding oneself in some respects, retreating, and preparing us perhaps for something to come in 2021. And I'm excited to find out later from non-physical if there's any clues to what's going to happen. They don't like to be too definite about things, but maybe we can force a little bit out of it.
Absolutely. So thank you, Justin. Okay, as Justin has said, I am Isabelle Zimmerman. I am a sciencey kind of psychic. And the topic today is authenticity, or being your authentic self. And Justin is tying in like what does that mean in 2020 and what does that mean in 2021? So I'm just going to break it down just a little bit for you all, that being authentic, surprisingly, might be that you have no idea who you are. And you think like, what? I know who I am, but you really know a limited version of yourself, I would say. And being authentic is kind of being in a dual state or a quantum state. So I'm just going to go a little sciencey for my friends out there. But what I mean is when you're in a quantum state, like a light particle, is a particle and a wave, light. It is both. You are physical and non-physical at the same time. You are both. You exist in a quantum state, but you may think in a linear fashion. So being authentic is your persona. So for example, I just said I was a sciencey kind of psychic, but can I be a different kind of psychic? Would my ego come in and swoop right in and say, wait, she's not sciencey? Or if I'm not sciencey, would I be offended, right? Can I be sciencey and not sciencey at once? That is the quantum state. So being authentic, because I do past life regressions, I understand that we've had many lives and we've had many, many aspects of ourselves. So one of my favorite things to think about is Donald Trump. So Donald Trump is King George III reincarnated. Okay, he may not realize it, but isn't it curious that a man, a modern man, born in the 1940s or 1950s, whatever his birthday is, likes gilded furniture. Gilded furniture, guys. That is gold-plated furniture. You can see how King George would love a gold furniture room, right? And here is this modern man loving gilded furniture. He may not be aware of that personality trait or persona coming into his physical reality as Donald Trump. But this is what I would like to expand your minds on: being authentic. Being authentic is not just being yourself, but allowing yourself to be many things. Allowing yourself to be open to new possibilities of an energetic field of your many lives and experiences. And this is fun to play. So how does this relate to 2020 and 2021? Well, being authentic is who you were in 2020 probably shifted and changed this year unexpectedly, right? So can you allow yourself to be open in 2021 to additional changes, to new possibilities of yourself, to new energetic fields of yourself, to new persona traits? And can you let go some of old persona traits? Because they don't define you. So that's all. That's how my non-physical team works with me. And these are my discussions I have with my team and how it interacts with me as Isabelle. So who knows how I'll be next year of 2021, but I hope you want to come and find out.
Oh, thank you, Isabelle. That's a very, you didn't prepare that at all. That was just like all on the fly, right? Very good. Nice.
Well, I did go within to talk about what I wanted to bring to this group. Was one of the words that we change is, we always say this or that, but they would like us to really embrace, if we can, and.
Yes.
I'm Isabelle and a mother. I'm Isabelle and a friend. I'm Isabelle and, mean or whatever. It doesn't matter. It's and. It's not or.
Yes. Thank you, Isabelle. No, and I guess, David, what are your feelings on this topic?
And my channeling is a little different in that I go into trance and call up the stream, and there's a difference between talking and interacting with me and interacting with the stream. I do my best to catch up to where they are and align with their teachings and what they're offering. But when you speak of authenticity, I think back to when I first came out of the closet as a channel, not that long ago. And I've known that I've had this come into me my entire life, but as some of you know that have listened to me in the past, I've kept this hidden. And it wasn't until 2017 that I sort of came out publicly. And when I did, one of the first questions I asked in making that decision is, why do we need another channel? I love Abraham. I think Abraham's great. Why do we need another Abraham? And the answer was very, very clear that we don't need another Abraham. Abraham is perfection as Abraham. There's not going to be a next Abraham. That each of these messages expressed through the human channel, if you will, is intended to reach its vibrationally aligned audience and offer something to that audience. And that what I was starting to call the stream, that I used to call my knowing, was going to be its own thing. And that turned out to be true. That in the years since I started, what are we in 3 years now, that the stream has become its own thing. That is not contradicting anything that Abraham is saying, certainly not contradicting anything that Isabelle just shared, because it's all collective consciousness thought, but we are perceiving it and channeling it in different ways and building a set of human created tools around these teachings that serve those that are aligned with us. So for authenticity, when I started sharing this, I just thought to myself, I really want to strip away as much human teaching as possible and get to the core of source and get to the core of universal law and really understand how to apply universal law in our lives. And because we are so programmed in our society, we're so programmed. We are programmed to be fearful. We are programmed to feel like victims very often. We're programmed to really, allow our egos to sort of run amok sometimes. And there's nothing wrong with any of that. That's just part of the expansion of humanity. But in channeling and sharing universal law, my goal is to pull as much humanity out of that as possible, get down to the core of very simple universal law, and then how can we bring that back and apply it in our lives in a way that works today? Not that worked necessarily 2,000 years ago, but a set of tools that works today. And we really, really focus on that. And as soon as the need to be right comes in, as soon as any dogma were to come in, and, I'm right and you're wrong, this is the right message, that's the wrong message, I understand very clearly there is none of that. Everyone is served by that which they're aligned with. And there is life and humanity, and of course the universe is gray. It's not black and white. We're in this polarized environment, and we think everything has to be right or wrong. And all of you that channel probably get this all the time. People will come and ask questions. Is this right or is this wrong? Should I be doing this? Should I not be doing that? How do you feel about X, Y, Z? And the answer is always the same, that from source, there's no judgment. Judgment is a human thing. This idea of this judgmental entity, there's some of you I've never heard channel before, but I know, I can tell by the vibration that this isn't going to be some judgmental set of rules that we're supposed to live by. I just know that. Coming into this group, I just know that. Because it's all expressions of source flowing through humanity. And here we are sharing these tools of universal law in our own unique way, and the audience is the perfect audience for it, because everyone's going to leave this interaction enlightened. That's authenticity.
Wow, thanks, David. That's a wonderful explanation. And yeah, I think what you're doing, of course, you guys, is, at first it was obviously had Seth and Roberts came out, and then you have Abraham, but now it's becoming a bit more quasi mainstream, but still not mainstream, and there's still some stigma attached to saying that one hears voices or one speaks with a voice of non-physical. But I think it must be obviously so strong within you to give it a voice that to hold that down probably would have made your life, obviously you would not have been comfortable, I'm guessing, David. That's you kind of
I was in a mid 6-figure corporate job living the material life, and I got to the point where I could not share it on this level anymore. And I quit the job and do this full time and have not looked back 1 second. I love doing this. I absolutely love doing this. And the message just keeps expanding and expanding, and the clarity just gets bigger and bigger. And I don't think that there's a ceiling that we hit with this journey of whatever you want to call it, enlightenment, if you will. There's no ceiling. It just gets clearer and clearer, and you work, and the work that I do personally in my human self is detuning fear and judgment. That's the guidance. You know, what Isabelle was talking about when she was speaking, I wrote down detuning fear and judgment. It's the same thing that we say in a different way, is you release, you know, these human qualities of fear and judgment. You really can zoom out to a higher perspective and see all of humanity with appreciation for the beautiful perfection that it is. And I want that for everyone that wants it. Not everybody wants it, I understand that. But I have a feeling the people that are here interacting with us want that. So.
Definitely. And Jennifer, I guess you're the next. What is your feelings about living the authentic life and as a channel?
Hello, everyone. Hello. I feel that authenticity is being very, very present with what you're feeling and being able to honor where you are at. So with my unfolding of channeling, so I learned how to tap into the Akashic records earlier this year. And when I explored that and unfolded in that way, I recognized that we are all each universally in our own pace, in our own style, trying to gauge and honor our center. That is the journey. And so for those of you that are not familiar with the Akashic records, it is the etheric space. So there is fire, earth, water, air, and then there is the ether. And so we're all channels. We are all channels. And in this container of the Akashic records, I was able to understand, when we really, really hone in and really allow ourselves to have the space and time to be present with ourselves, and then we allow ourselves to breathe and get into a meditative state and surrender and just allow for messages to come through, then you are tapping into the Akashic records. So the ether space, you tap into all of the infinite possible timelines of the past, present, future, everything all exists. And when you tap into it, you, even without knowing that you're tapping into the Akashic records, when you're fully centered, you're able to hear it, you're able to feel it. And so that's how I channel. And for authenticity, again, for me, it's really honoring where you're at and being very honest with yourself. And I have grown up with all of these societal norms, and this is what you're supposed to do, this is what you're supposed to look like, or this is what you're supposed to sound like. And so the past 2 years, I've been on the path of radically just speaking and being and expressing myself and giving myself the opportunity to really feel what it is that is trying to come out through me, or what it is that I'm feeling. And so that's the flavor that I can provide for those of you that are honing into your center. Oh, you're muted, Justin. You're still muted.
Thank you very much, Jennifer. That really was and for you, obviously I think you're the most recent to have discovered your abilities out of this group. And I had the sense when I was had my first discussion with you back in June and May, it was really, the unfolding of this ability. And I think it's obviously, I can see how it's strengthened and become more clear and in many expressions. And
Yes.
thank you. And Kimberley, you're the next up. What is your journey and your feeling about the idea of living the authentic life and being a channeler?
Sure. Well, firstly, I just want to say hello, everybody. And it's, my pleasure to be here today. And thank you all of you that are joining here today. So as Justin introduced me, I channel the beings of the light. So the beings of the light are a range of beings. So, you can label them as ascended masters, archangels, nature spirits, extraterrestrials. So basically the beings of the light say that they are us, right? So firstly, it's about oneness. So the beings of the light come through me to teach the Ascension teaching. So these are teachings based on oneness teachings and who we truly are, universal laws. So basically, being authentic is being who we are in each dimensional moment, because who we are is much more than we think. We perceive ourselves to be a three-dimensional existence, right? We identify with ourselves, with our personality. We identify ourselves with what we look in the mirror, right? But who we are is actually multi-dimensional in nature. So we are here and we are also existing in a remembered enlightened state, because guess what, guys? We are already enlightened. We have just forgotten. So basically this year of 2020, as most of you will know, there was many shifts, consciousness shifts, and as above, so below, as within, so without. So everything that is happening within our consciousness is reflected what's happening in society and the world, and vice versa, right? We are the micro of the macro of all that is. So we are going through many shifts this year. It is forcing us to go inwards, forcing us to unite our shadows. So if you don't know what shadows are, so basically I'm also a channeler, I'm also a counselor, relationship therapist, and light language alchemist. So shadows, these are versions of you that vibrate in fear, because the human collective are attached to duality consciousness. So what is duality consciousness? Duality consciousness is the perception of separation from me and you, right? Duality consciousness also exists on a vibrational scale from fear to love. But who we truly are is unconditional love, because we are source energy, right? But we are expressed here in physicality. We are born through Gaia, Mother Earth. So we have her energy within us. Plus, this year, we'll go into it obviously further as this session goes along, but we are actually much more than human. We actually have ET DNA within us, which is being activated within us. And that's why there were so many changes. So as we move through to more oneness remembrance states, the whole collective is moving there. We are forced, right, with all these events, for us to go inwards. It's catalyzing us for a reason to go inwards. So to be authentic in this journey, this ascension journey, to remember who we are, that we are one, that we are love, is to embrace who we are in our emotions, right? We have been conditioned, right? If we have a negative thought, a negative emotion, push it away, push it down. Sorry, just think happy thoughts, sorry, but that's not how you remember who you are in oneness. That fear is there for you. That version of you that is in fear, when you are triggered with negative emotion, you then attract a dimension of you that's in fear. All that version of you, all it needs is your love, your acceptance. And it might be hard to love your fear and your fear-based thoughts, but if you can accept them, that's a frequency of love. And that's how we unite our multidimensional versions of us into oneness remembrance. So that's what we're doing. That's why this year there has been so many triggering events forcing us to actually look at our fears and all that repressed trauma, fears, limiting beliefs that we've pushed down even since we were born, right? And also from our multidimensional life experience. Isabelle, you know what I'm talking about? So I myself have some awareness of some of my past lives or multidimensional lives, and yes, some of that we are purging from our multidimensional lives. But basically, when we are triggered by fear, it is about accepting it, seeing the soul lessons within it, making friends with this version of us. And once we can do that, we actually unite and we become authentic with who we are, right? Because who we are, yes, the fear version of us is an illusion of physical reality, but it is still us within the physical reality, in this dimensional experience. So it's not about pushing it away. It is about making friends with it, because once you can accept it, you basically let go of the resistance, and then you can see what it's trying to show you. It's trying to show you there's a part of you that you are not loving, a part of you that you are not accepting, or a condition that's being reflected to you. But everything in your reality is a reflection of your frequency, your dimensional frequency. So if you want to live in a more authentic state, so to speak, it is about being true with who you are in the moment, right? If you are angry, if you are sad, it's okay, right? We are human. We're much more than human, but we're playing this human game, right? This is how we move to oneness remembrance. It's about embracing who we are emotionally, because, for instance, if we are vibrating in a dimension of anxiety, it's a vibration of fear. We basically attract a whole dimensional reality that reflects that, but it's teaching us something. So that's how we are physical and playing the game as physical and non-physical working together to allow us to remember that we are one. So once you can accept and embrace the fear within you, you transmute it to acceptance. And that's when you raise your vibration in your dimensional experience, and that's when you remember more of your enlightened state. So you feel more joy. And then you then tap into that clear channel, your clear guidance, your intuition, to, for which step to take in your ascension journey, and you'll discover more of your soul purpose.
Oh, thank you, Kimberly. That was beautiful. Very nicely said. And I'm thinking maybe, Roxanne, do you feel like we can just open it up for Q&A to the from the audience, to the channelers? Can you talk about how you realized you were connected to a higher being? That's obviously directly for the channelers,
Okay.
I think.
Yeah.
So
Krista, yeah,
Krista,
ask next question. Okay.
I mean, yeah, I can.
So let's
Krista,
pose that
did
to
you want to
Isabelle.
know, like, how did I know I was channeling? Is that kind of what you wanted to ask about the channelers? Like, how did we know we were connected to non-physical entity?
Higher beings or beings, yes. It looks like
Okay.
that's what she's asking.
Yeah. So I'll go first since I'm just talking, and then you guys can share your experience when you were understanding that you were channeling, right?
When she adds
Everyone
this to-
has the ability to channel.
yeah,
You are always connected with your inner being or your higher selves. You all have access to non-physical entities and esoteric knowledge, because you are a being of love and you're very powerful. It's just you don't believe it, and it's okay. So one of the things that I knew, I did have the belief that I could channel. I did believe, for me personally, I played bilateral beats in my car during lunch at work, and I took a little notebook and I asked to connect with only my beings of light. And then I went into a meditative state. So I think meditating, I don't know for all of you, but meditating really did help. For me, I'm a sciencey psychic again, so I used a device called Heart Math, because then I could have biofeedback and understand if I was in coherence. But so I meditated while I was listening to bilateral beats, and then I said hello, and then I heard it in my head. So what it feels like when you read a book, you're reading somebody else's words. It sounds like you, but those are not the words you wrote. That's what it kind of feels like. So when I first channeled, it sounded like me because it was in my head, but I knew those were not my words, if that makes sense. So that is how I knew I was tapping into something that was different, that felt different. And of course, when you channel, it does feel like a download, and it's very physical sometimes. I have a lot of channelers who don't feel anything, but I felt a tingling, me personally, and I saw images. So for me, it was a very multi-pronged approach for channeling, but that was my experience.
Thank you. That's very well.
I wanted to add on to that. She had said, like the first steps, and because it's happening to me. So there's also a separate question for Kimberly, but maybe David and Jennifer can talk about their, David, you've known it all your life. When you were 8 years old, how did you know it was channeling?
When I was a child, I thought it was something that everybody had. And I referred to it for, I think, mid-childhood, 12, 13, I started kind of referring to it to myself as my knowing. I had this knowing that other people didn't seem to have access to. And as I progressed through life, I came to understand that everyone has the knowing, as I believe Isabelle said, we all have it, but we're taught to ignore it. We're taught that it's not real. We're taught that it's our imaginary friend and that we need to, read our Bible or whatever. That's what I was taught, but I ignored all of that. I questioned all that. In fact, I was asked to leave Sunday school because of all of that. And because I had parents that were not very involved in my life, I essentially raised myself, which ended up being a great gift because I never worked that out of me. I listened to my knowing, and my knowing drove me through life, kept me safe, protected me. And when I got into my 20s and 30s, I would see psychics trying to figure out what this was because I didn't want it. I didn't want to be weird. I didn't want to be different. I wanted to fit into the mainstream. And I was told by one psychic that I was a channel. And she attempted to turn me on to Abraham, and I did not want any part of it at that time. Years later, Abraham came to me in such a way that I could no longer ignore it. And it was like stereo. Hearing the original Abraham Hicks teachings from 1988, we're hearing exactly what had been coming to me my whole life. And Esther's sharing of Abraham made channeling very palatable. It wasn't weird. It just seemed normal to me. It was fine. It was no big deal. It was cool. I was hearing everything that I'd been thinking. So it was really a good thing for me. And I started to meditate, really meditate for the first time after really getting into the Abraham teachings. 2010, I had what a lot of people label a Kundalini awakening. During meditation, I had this energy sort of erupt at the base of my spine. And that energy has stayed present to this day. It's never gone away. When my vibration's a little lower, I have less access to it, but I've gotten really good at keeping my vibration high because I love the energy so much. And as far as speaking and writing, the channeling, I accepted pretty quickly that that's what I had coming to me, kept it hidden for a number of additional years. In my late 40s, I was really guided to share it and to begin writing and speaking it for the benefit of other people, not just for myself. And I taught myself to do that. But writing was pretty easy, but the speaking, I would actually lock myself in my car in the parking garage of my condo in my apartment building in Seattle and San Francisco, where nobody could hear me because I was embarrassed that even my neighbors would walk by and hear it. And I got into a state of I thought I was allowing it, but I believe I was forcing it to speak. And when I finally chilled about all of that and relaxed and let it flow, the information that came through was amazing, definitely well beyond my intellect. And it has continued to expand. And what I found very quickly is when I started my podcast and started sharing it with other people and interacting with other people with the sharing of it, it just expanded that much more. And there's things that come out that are so, to me, so logical and just sort of put the pieces of the puzzle together to connect humanity to the energetic realm, our eternal state, if you will. And they've never been stumped. They've never, I'm not that into spiritual stuff. I always joke I'm the least spiritual teacher you'll ever meet, probably. There's so many of these things that I didn't know about. Like Jennifer was talking about the Akashic records. I had no idea what that meant when I first got into doing this. I've always just called that the energetic realm because these things are labeled and then that entity is created, and it's very helpful to do so. But I created my own description of these things. The stream didn't come and use our typical language. The stream came and used my vocabulary and intellect. Therefore, we even have a glossary of stream terms because they don't necessarily align with the exact terms that you hear in mainstream teachings. But once you hear Akashic records and energetic realm, you realize it's the same thing. So that's how my channeling came about. And I never cease to be amazed at what just this past week, I had a session on a LOA Today podcast that was just so next level information that it just blows my own mind to go back and listen to it. I go to somewhat into a trance when I channel, so I don't remember a lot of it. So I have to go back and watch myself to get it, or go into my writing state and then go back and read what I've written. And I'm dyslexic, so that's always kind of an interesting process. Plenty of typos with the stream because of me.
Awesome. Jennifer, Kimberly, we're going to answer you last because there's a separate question for you. So I'm with Jennifer to go ahead and speak on her beginnings.
Okay, my beginnings. So, by the way, I'm really feeling everyone's energy and it feels so amazing. I'm so honored to be here with you all at this time. I have the first time I ever felt myself and understood that I was a vessel of channeling was actually outside of me learning about the Akashic Records. So it was early last October, and what happened was I was in a place of complete surrender. It was when I'm gonna be completely honest. I was making love, and it came to the point where my body started to shake. I started to shake, and then I started to shake, and I started to feel like there were different energies coming through me. So like I was sticking out my tongue and then making faces like this, and there was a lot going on, and I didn't know what was going on, and I felt like my soul, my being was trying to be sucked into like a black hole. And during all this time I was seated, and my partner was trying to stabilize me, and I knew there were different energies trying to come into me. It actually physically felt like they were trying to come into me, like here. And I didn't want them to because I was scared. And so we were trying to get myself grounded. So we went outside, and I was seated next to a tree. And then I felt better. I can breathe. It didn't feel like I was being like sucked into this thing. So and then after that, I felt 0-point energy where everything felt crystal clear, and everything just felt like it was now. Like there was no thought that felt like it was all jumbled. It just felt clear. And I was speaking in my personality, the way I was speaking was very different than how I speak. It was very loud, and I was very present, and my face was very lightened up, and I was very sassy, and it lasted for about 2 hours. And so that was my first ever experience of channeling. After that, I came to learn about the Akashic Records through a meditation group. And it was offered, I didn't know anything about it, but how the Akashic Records practitioner, her name is Alyssa Zek, and she said a prayer of intention. And after that, she asked everyone to ask her questions, anything, for clarity. And for some reason, I felt very, very, very connected to the prayer of intention. It felt very reverence-filled, and I felt like it was something, it just felt very surrendered, and it felt so etheric. I felt like I could get there, and it was so interesting because I was doing it through someone else. And so that's how I got into Akashic Records. So when I started learning how to tap into the Akashic Records, I first, because if you say the prayer of intention, you set the intention for yourself to set the awareness of gauging, okay, I'm here, but then when I say the prayer of intention, I'm gonna get to a space of gamma state. So messages started to come through me through visuals. And I know it's not me because I would not think about that if someone were to ask me a question. So we were training with that. And then sometimes I also feel like there's something, I could hear what the light beings are saying to me, or from the space of the Akasha. I hear it and I have to share it. And then now it's progressed to the point where I feel I don't even have any of that, and I just speak. I'm like exploding. It feels like I'm exploding, and it's just coming out, and it's here, and it's here. And so my first steps would be when I was in a place of complete surrender is the first steps. Yeah.
Great. Appreciate that, Jennifer. That was a very, also a very unique perspective. And I think it comes to everybody in, you know, certain situations that are least expected. And yeah, so Kimberley, there's a question for you as well, I think. Specifically, it looks like, go scroll back. Jillian was asking, Kimberley, what does embracing your fear look like? Can you give a real life example of the steps to take? Thanks.
Wonderful. All right. So what I'll do, I'll introduce my journey as well, and then we'll go into an example of fear. All right. So for me, when I was an adolescent, I started to see angels and feel angels. And interestingly, I remember I was in bed and all of a sudden I could see all lights in my room. And I'm like, first I was like, what's going on? I was a bit like, you know, because I was a bit shocked basically. And all of a sudden I just felt this unconditional love just pour to me. Like I was just tears of this love just pouring out of my eyes. I remember when it first happened, I couldn't sleep. My eyes were just open and I just felt so much love. It was unbelievable. And my whole room was just buzzing. It's like I opened the gateway and yeah, it was like there was like two lights here, pillars of light, and all my room was just blah, 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 blah. And then I remember at that time thinking, I'm not worthy of this, right? I'm not from a religious background. You know, I actually felt I'm not worthy, right? But this was when I was very young. And they showed me some images like in my third eye. So one of my abilities is clairvoyance. I do have some other abilities, but I visually see as well. And so basically they said, that's okay, you're safe. You know, and things happen, know that you are always safe. So that for me was my first kind of communication with non-physical, and it made me feel that I'm not alone. I'm never alone, no matter, you know, how sad I might feel or down I might feel throughout my life. I always felt, okay, I can always pray to my angels because they've always been there since I was probably around 16 years old or something like that. And yeah, 37 now. So it's, you know, all my life. But of course, growing up, being a teenager and late adolescence, you know, I got on with life. I kind of, even though we're there, I kind of pushed that aside, I guess. I wasn't really ready. And I wanted to I really embraced life, you know, got myself into trouble here and there. And all that kind of prepared me, right, to be a counsellor, because that's where I discovered I could channel first. So leading up to 2012, prior to that, I went through a trauma. So many of you who know, a lot of the light workers and way showers, there's a term called the wounded healer. So often us light workers, we go through kind of a traumatic experience and that kind of catalyzes us to go inwards, right? So I went to this big catalyst of a trauma, and then after the healing process, I felt guided. I want to help others, right, who've gone through fear. So I had a deep calling to be a counsellor. But also at that time, backtrack a few years, I felt guided to become a Reiki therapist. I was attuned in 2008 because I was having all these weird visions of me in ancient Egypt and all these things happening energetic to my body. It's like, what is going on? Like, it was crazy at the time. Anyway, so I got first attuned to that. And so just going back to 2008, my full-embodied channeling experience, I didn't know I was channeling at the time. Back in 2008, I was a spa therapist. So I was doing a massage, and all of a sudden, I just felt, and I used to always connect with Reiki, right? And intuitively do some things. And all of a sudden, it was so strange. I felt this personality come over me. And I remember, I was like, this is not me. I remember like shaking my head, and I was fully conscious in a room, standing up, shaking my head, and I could feel beads in my hair. I'm like, what's going on? And I could see myself. I remember looking down at myself, and I was wearing like ancient Egyptian clothes. I saw the sandals, I saw everything. And I even had a foreign language coming through. And I'm like, I've got to write this down. It was crazy. It was so strong. While the client was out, I had to literally look in the mirror to see if it was me, because for me, it was very strange. And then even afterwards, I remember just the way I walked, it was like I know Jen used to, sassy was like this like, powerful kind of feminine energy, like powerful. And I was like, I felt like I was strutting, and the personality was in me for quite a while. So that was my first experience. And again, I had, a bunch of metaphysical experiences, but for the most part, it was like, yeah, but get on with life. So after my trauma, I felt guided to become a counselor. And then, in the counseling practice, we are taught to sit with our clients, to have a clean slate and be present, with our clients. And then they say that all the information that you have learned will just come through, and you're not to think about what to say. And basically it's what channeling is, right? So anyway, so I discovered when working with clients, I would do that, I'll have a clean slate, just connect, be in the present. And then this information was coming out, and I was like, whoa, where did that come from? I didn't learn this. And I was like, but at the time I just thought, wow, it's my intuition, that's cool, but I don't remember learning that. And it wasn't until a few more years later that I realized that was actually channeling, right? So then, 2017, I had another wave of a kind of awakening. And instead of just seeing like the energies and feeling angels, after I actually saw an Archangel Michael. And for me, because of my belief systems, he came through in an external way, because they actually come through in a way that matches our belief systems, right? And I guess I've always been connected to angels. And at that time, I was still kind of more attached to duality. So for them to validate to me that I was channeling, they needed to come through an external way to validate to me, right? So anyway, I had Archangel Michael sitting right in front of me. I was like, okay. He came over, kissed me on the forehead, and it was, yeah. And then sometime I did automatic writing, and then within like a few days or a week, they said, okay, well, why don't you trance channel? So then I invited them within me. So their personality takes over my being. So trance channeling. But how I trance channel now is that I'm still in the background a little bit. So that I'm the observer in this session, which is very interesting. So me as Kimberley's in the background observing it. Some bits I don't remember, depends, but basically the personality comes over and they speak through me. My eyes are open. So basically that's my journey. And I've also channel using different modalities. So I do light language alchemy and channeling and counseling, sorry. So the beings of the light have created with me a modality called high dimensional therapy, because I am a counselor and relationship therapist. So basically it's combining counseling, but it's channeled. And then it combines, with a channeled guided meditation and light language. So these are healing ascension source codes. They're vibrational codes. And it's basically meditation on steroids. So it's a frequency, and it sounds like a song. And it just helps to activate the dormant DNA and helps to align with who you are. So I have a range of modalities. So I channel in different ways. But yeah, that's basically my story. So about the fear. Okay, so I'll give you an example. I guess the easiest way to explain it, which most of you probably deal with, is when you're triggered by another person, right? So usually it's those closest to us who trigger our blind spots. So yes, even us, the counselors, even us, the channels, even us that do all the work here, we still get triggered. It might get easier, but because the collective basically is still attached to collective consciousness, even though we're moving out of it, we still get triggered by fear, even if it's small. It could be an annoyance, could be boredom, but fear is still there. So anyway, those of you closest to you will trigger you the most. And often when my guard is down, when I'm interacting with, my loved ones, this happens with all of us. So basically, if you're triggered by fear in another, they are reflecting to you a limiting belief you have about yourself. They are not causing you pain. You might feel that it's their fault. You might feel that they're trying to make you wrong, but they are just mirroring to you a belief you have about yourself to highlight there is part of you that you are not loving, that you are not accepting, right? So it's a gift. So to kind of get out of that fear, that triggered state, and it, you know, it takes practice, but you can in the moment. When you're triggered by negative emotion by another, you can play the observer. If you're not too triggered, be the observer and look at it from a point of curiosity. Oh, isn't that interesting? I'm feeling fear right now. Why am I feeling fear? To help to see the lesson here, see the other person or the condition as a master teacher. It's like their higher self and your higher self are playing this game to allow you to remember that you're powerful, right? So the first thing is to basically be grateful for this trigger, whether it's a person or a condition, right? Just, you know, you can say, I am so grateful for this soul test because I'm ready for higher expansion. I am so grateful that this is alerting me to a part of me that I have not loved. And I'm grateful that I have this opportunity to explore more of who I am and parts of me that I've disregarded, that I have not loved. So once you can do that, you can then even increase it and be in loving acceptance of that person. I accept this person or condition. I am very grateful. These are frequencies of love. This helps ease the resistance so you can see the lesson there. So it might take practice to do it in the moment, but it is possible because I do it in the moment when I'm triggered. And if you can do that, because they are reflecting your dimensional experience, once you can see it from a higher perspective, you might not know the full soul lesson here, but if you can at least gauge in that love, those love perspectives, you will find a situation, the person, the condition will change in a moment because they're reflecting your dimension, that you live in your vibration. So yeah, that's about also being authentic and embracing our fear. It's about recognizing that everything in our reality is for us. Nothing is happening to us. It is for us to discover our self-purpose and how powerful we truly are. And thank you for your question.
Well, thank you, Kimberly. Very well said.
Yeah, why don't we just start with Isabelle to go right back to the channel portion then, and we'll do another round robin about authentic, and then we'll get into the Q&As. And then if there's another entity that wants to answer in addition, then let us know, and then we'll bring you on. Will that work?
Yep.
Daniel?
Okay.
Yeah, okay. Daniel, we'll get to the hand questions and then the other ones after the round robin. Isabelle, you're up.
Okay. Hello. We are delighted to be here with communicating with her through our dear child, Isabelle. We have been speaking with her on being authentic, and we have been working with her. As she would say, she feels like she's in training, but we are guiding her lovingly around being authentic. We have been working with our child, Isabelle, to understand that she is much more than what she sees in the mirror. For her, we use a symbolism of a tree. We show the tree and the leaves. When you are just a leaf on a branch, you may not be aware of the other leaves around you. But when you open up to your field of possibilities, you might see you're not the only leaf on the branch. If you go deeper within, you may see that you are also part of other branches with other leaves, and that you are this great tree that goes deep down in the roots. And so being authentic, we guide her often to be not only that leaf on the tree with many leaves, but also allow her to change form. So, for example, a leaf may die and fall to the ground and become a new leaf in a new season. And so we expand her over and over again. Just when she thinks she gets it, she says to us, we change the game. So being authentic is allowing that freedom for the game to change. And this is what we would like to tell you and would like to discuss. Can you allow yourself to be flexible and change in the moment and not have any attachment to the outcome? Thank you.
Thank you. And I guess Kimberly, would you like, or whoever's up, whoever feels inspired?
Dear ones, it is Goddess Isis coming through. Dear ones, do you know how powerful you are? Do you know how perfect you are? Dear ones, you are magical beings of source. You are, but you doubt your power, don't you? Because you're attached to duality. But as you move forward into this new era of consciousness, in this new era of a remembered state of who you are as oneness, you will remember the magic for yourself. Yes, you are nearly there, dear ones. Trust in the power that you have. Trust that you are magical. Trust that you are multidimensional. Trust that all the wisdom of all the universe, of all the galaxies, of all the stars, all beings is within you. But you have to believe it for yourself. Do you believe you are worthy of the power? Do you believe you're capable to have this power expressed through you? Or are you afraid of your power? Yes. You are required to love yourself unconditionally. This is how you expand. This is how you step into your authentic self. This is how you live in oneness with who you are as source energy, as multidimensional in nature, as who you are in physicality. You are much more than a human, dear one, and it is time of the great awakening where you are starting to remember this for yourself. Go inwards, dear ones. This is the inward journey here. If you want to remember who you are, if you want to discover your power, you are required to go inwards. You are required to surrender to the universe. Understand, if you can surrender within yourself, surrender with all conditions, surrender with your reality, you will step more forward into your power. Because guess what, dear ones? As you surrender to the universe, you are surrendering to yourself. You are the universe. You are a reflection of the universe, of source itself. You are that powerful. You are limitless. How can you not be limitless when you are source? When you are all the beings within you? Understand that I am you. We are one. So allow these words to validate the power that you have. Allow these words to validate to you that you are worthy, that you are loved, that you are never alone. And it's time now in the Great Awakening for you to step forward in your power, to step forward into why you are here and your soul purpose here. You will not be here otherwise. You will not be watching this if you do not want to remember who you are. You are at a certain vibrational vicinity where you are here today watching this live or on the replay. However you find this, it is for you. If it resonates for you, all these teachings, it is because your inner self, your higher self, your soul self, however you like to call it, your inner being, is trying to communicate this for you. And what resonates is that this information is coming to you to the surface, and that's what resonance is, because you are starting to remember this information for yourself. All this information of the universe, of all that is within you, dear ones. It's always been there. You are already enlightened. All you need to do is let go, dear ones. Surrender. Allow these dimensions of you, these programs of physical reality that no longer serve you, allow these to be transmuted from you by seeing and embracing the soul lessons there. This is how you step into who you truly are in your oneness state. To be authentic in your human terminology is to see all aspects of you as one, is to see me as you, is to see all these channelers here today as you, is to see your brothers and sisters as you, is to see the Mother Gaia as you, is to see everything is a reflection of you. That's how powerful you are, dear ones. It is about surrendering. It is okay to feel fear. It is a paradigm of the human experience because the collective is attached still to duality. But understand their energies, the technologies is available within you to become more empowered, to more effectively and easily address that fear within you. Can you love those aspects of you? It might be hard. It might be hard to love and accept others who trigger you in fear, but understand that they are you and they're always here assisting you out of love, out of higher love. Understand there are soul contracts here. Understand that everyone that exists here now are the most advanced beings. Only the most advanced beings can be born through earth at this time. You have just remembered who you are. So if you can raise your perception of who you are, you will naturally unlock your divine blueprint within you. And step by step, you will start to see for yourself the power that you are, the love that you are. It is about actively loving those aspects of you, dimensions of you that you have not loved. And then you'll be able to more easily love all others as you. Can you see the game being played here? You are one with all that is. It's time to remember your power, dear ones, and we are always here with you, assisting you. It is with such love that we come through today, dear ones.
Wow.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. That was very moving. I would say, David, or the stream, would you like to say something?
We are here. David has asked us to come today and speak with all of you on the topic of authenticity. And it is an interesting term, authenticity, because you are, as you are well aware, existing in a polarized environment where you see evidence of right and wrong and left and right and all of these things all around you. And in your belief that there is some sort of way that is right for all and some sort of truth that is concrete. But that is not the way of the energetic realm. And you're catching yourselves up in a physical environment, as you have all done here, as strands of soul consciousness, if you will, that are all source at your core. We are the source of all creation, and you are part of us. But you are expressing yourselves in a physical reality that is, it is not a reality, yet it is a reality, because it is your own creation. And it is very real to you in this linear time that you are perceiving. So we will speak to you in terms of that. And the idea of authenticity, meaning that there is some concrete set of rules or some concrete way to do things, to go about being a human being, even. We are here to tell you that your authenticity is your own creation. What you believe about you, what you believe about the world around you, what we often refer to as your bubble of reality, you are creating it. And the beautiful thing about coming to the realization that you are the creator of your reality is understanding how it serves you, how it serves your expansion as a human being, certainly, but more importantly, in a much larger way, as an eternal being. The expansion that you are creating by coming into physical, and you are all physical in infinite ways, expressing yourselves simultaneously, for there is no linear time in the energetic realm. Everything that has ever happened and everything that is ever going to happen is happening at the same time, because there is no time. And understanding that all of these other realities where you're expressing yourselves create the unique strand of consciousness that you are. And this unique strand of consciousness is choosing vibrationally increasingly sophisticated experiences. And in the choosing of increasingly sophisticated experiences, you are dropping yourselves in, if you will, into increasing contrasting experiences. Meaning those of you that are choosing difficult paths are choosing difficult paths because of the expansion that is offered in the difficult path. And we are here to tell you there is no getting these paths wrong, regardless of how you react to the path that you create, the path that you manifest into vibrationally. You may manifest into abuse from birth. You may manifest into serious illness from birth. You may manifest into poverty. You may manifest into scenarios that place obstacles along your path very early on in your lives. And notice how the things that occur very early on set the stage for what's next. And for many of you, set the stage for what's going to transpire for many, many years. But that's not because there was some predetermined path for you. The magic of physical reality, as you are perceiving it, is that this path is your own creation. And many of you find yourselves traveling far down a path of difficulty, of what you would label difficulty from a human perspective. And that difficult path guides you deeper inward, guides you to teachings such as this, where you come to a space where you can look back and realize that all that has been, everything that you have perceived in your human life experience thus far, can be perceived very differently. And all of the things that trigger you when you are in your lower vibrational flow can be detuned immediately in your shifting focus of them, from the focus of something that happened to you to the focus of something that happens for you. Finding the silver lining, finding the benefit in anything that you have manifested. And as I promise to you that every single thing that you have experienced is indeed your manifestation. You have heard us speak of the law of attraction, but speaking of the law of attraction is like speaking of gravity. It's happening all the time. It's more important for the journey that you are on, if you are absorbing these teachings and this interaction, to understand vibrational flow, to understand polarity, to understand the gift of what you perhaps consider positive and negative. That the negative things that you bring into your reality are absolutely things that you are bringing in to drive your next creation in the solving of it. And in the solving of it, expanding your being. And in the expansion of your being, you are expanding our being. While we are the source of all creation, you are the true creators. Coming into physical, into polarized physical environments, where you are experiencing things that you prefer and things that you do not. And when you are at this place in your journeys, when you are wanting to understand deeper, and more human beings that are experiencing planet Earth than ever before have expanded to this space because of the polarity of your planet, of your environment. You are perceiving physical on planet Earth at what is indeed a magical time of expansion. And this magical time of expansion has delivered more challenge. And the additional challenge has driven more of you deeper. And in your going deeper and finding greater appreciation for all that is, including your obstacles, collectively and independently, notice that your vibration lifts. Notice that it is connecting you back to our energy, which is available to all creation. It's always there. It's always flowing. We are that loving feeling. We are that knowing feeling. We are that feeling that you receive when you quiet your mind a bit. Perhaps take a few deep breaths. Find greater appreciation for all that you are. In physical, finding greater appreciation for all that is. Finding the release of fear and judgment. You are not going to eradicate fear and judgment in a polarized environment. That was never your intention in the first place, but you can absolutely move to a space of detuning it to where it does not hold the power over you that it perhaps has for your entire existence in physical. And that release of fear and judgment is quite transformative to your physical reality and connects you to the higher vibrational plane where we reside. We are always there. We are ever flowing. We are omnipresent within you. Your fear, your lower vibrational thoughts, your less than love of self disconnects you from that energy. But notice when you are not trying so hard. Notice when you are simply in a state of passive joy, your intuition drops in. Your very best thoughts, your very best ideas, your most relaxed thoughts are in a state of calm, in a state of ease, in a state of passive joy. It's our promise to you that that state is available to you almost constantly. But if you are allowing your current environment to separate yourselves from it, learning to travel back to that higher vibrational state through appreciation of all that is, through appreciation of your vibrational flow. You all have one. You are all very aware that there are times that you are naturally in higher vibration and there are times that you are in less than that. But it's our promise to you that the lower vibrational flow is only negative in your perception because of your judgment of it, because of your desire to claw your way up your spiral, because of your desire to always be positive and not think about the negative. But notice as you go through this vibrational flow, the negative aspects of your life experience tend to bubble up. But that bubbling up is a gift. That bubbling up is a gift of your transgressor energy presenting itself for your detuning, for your finding appreciation for. And is our promise to you that you possess the ability to find appreciation for all that is, to find appreciation for all that you have experienced and even endured. And when you find appreciation for it, you detune it. And your transgressor energy can be people, can be circumstances, can be events of your life. And these events that you cannot look upon in full appreciation create your transgressor energy. And the detuning of that energy, and not necessarily needing to come in and detune all of it at one time, that is not your work. Your work is to find appreciation through your vibrational flow. And in your lower vibrational flow, when you are less connected to our energy, understanding that these things tend to bubble up, but it is absolutely within your ability to meet these things in joy. Understanding how they serve your expansion, understanding that all you need do at any time that you are faced with an obstacle in your life experience is to allow your vibration to go back up in appreciation of the obstacle, and the obstacle will solve itself. And in the solving of the obstacle, notice this is where your creation comes from. And your creation begins with your imagination. Your imagination connecting in with our energy creates the solution and creates your expansion. And your expansion is an important component to universal expansion. You are just coming to the realization of all of this. Humanity collectively is coming to this realization of how powerful you are. You are hearing that echoed across this chamber today. And in becoming to understand how powerful you are in your creative abilities, how you are truly creating your bubble of reality, and how all of these rules and all of these things that have never felt right to you are a human created tool of control. And you are allowing yourselves to be controlled or triggered by any of these things as your choice. And the collective consciousness of humanity is coming together like never before through mediums such as this. And you're all comparing notes, and you're all coming to understand all over your planet how you have control over your reality, your destiny. What's next? And in that questioning, you are creating the fracturing of your institutions of control. This is why your governments are coming into question. This is why your organized religion tends to come into question. This is why your family traditions are coming into question. This is how you are all expressing yourselves in more individual ways, not the way that you were told that you have to express yourselves. And this is just the beginning of that. Indeed, this is a very, very exciting time for humanity. And for those of you that are choosing to question everything that you've been taught, and to find your own authenticity, allowing your own connection to this to flow, and allowing yourselves to move through vibrational flow, to appreciate your obstacles, to find newfound appreciation for all that is and all that has been, and see it all for the gift that it is that you have created for yourselves. That is the message that we wish to share with all of you regarding authenticity.
Oh, thank you very much, Stream. Jennifer.
Here we go. At this time, we would like to say hello to you all. In this moment of now, we would like to present all that you need to know, and that is of self, feeling into more and more aspects of you, understanding within yourselves that all is you, minding your heart, mending your heart, in this moment of now, we would like to congratulate you for being here, allowing more here. It is feeling into yourselves that which you seek more and more. Authenticity, authenticity, inspire yourselves at this time, feeling more and more of this now in each now. Each now is of differentiation of each feeling of self. Recognizing yourselves to be here, 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 now. Understand yourselves at this time. Stand up for yourselves, in yourselves at this time. Each moment unfolds as you allow yourselves to be in yourselves. Thanking yourselves. Celebrating all of your other selves. As you recognize your inner standing of self, you will begin to feel your mirrors as your other selves. We are entering anew into one heart, one mind at this time. And we are delighted for your allowance of selves to feel more and more. And we thank you.
Thank you. Wow. I love that. So many different expressions of one source. And Roxanne, so shall we field some questions from the audience? Should we go to the Q&A chat? And
Sure.
what do you feel like? You want to start off?
Well, let's start with the first one that was put into the chat was J1. And if anyone's still drawn to answer this, just speak up and wave your hand or just yell at us. Jay asked, if you judge a murderer, do you become the vibration of that which you invalidate, when you yourself are obviously not a murderer? So it's definitely a mirror question, a reflection idea, and identifying with negative aspects. Anybody? Take it away. Who feels like it? Kim? Yep, Kim's got it.
Dear ones, it is Yeshua coming through. Dear ones, you connect with the love state of your being through love, through oneness, through forgiveness, through compassion. This is how you expand. We understand in your human conditioning, it may be challenging for you to perceive beings in your world that do harm in a perspective of love. But understand they're here to assist the collective to remember who you are. If you are triggered by the notion that this person caused someone harm, then what is the judgment within you? Are you judging that other person as wrong? We understand from a third dimensional perspective that it can be perceived of such a person that causes harm is wrong. But understand that you are more than a three-dimensional perspective. Understand that this person that caused harm had a soul contract with the person that was murdered, in your terminology. Their higher selves working together to play out this role. Because understand, dear ones, that everyone that transitions from this world, that dies, in your terminology, they chose when to die. Yes. Pre-birth, before coming here in this reality, you created soul contracts with your brothers and sisters. They are playing a role for you. So if you can see this higher perspective, This will assist you to let go of that judgment. Understand it was for them for a reason. Perhaps, obviously, not that person that transitioned, but maybe it was their family. Maybe something happened as a result of that death. You cannot see the full picture here of the soul contracts or why things are occurring from a higher perspective. So, D1, use frequencies of love in this moment. If you find yourself judging, that is okay. That is a part of the human paradigm, D1. Can you accept your judgment? Can you accept this human condition? You are still attached to the human collective consciousness. Be gentle on yourself when judgment comes through. If you can see a higher perspective, this will shift your vibration in the moment. Use compassion. If you cannot love the murderer, if you cannot be grateful for the murderer, can you show compassion? Compassion is a frequency of love. Compassion creates an energetic interchange, your heart center with theirs. Mighty One, compassion allows you to melt away that resistance, to see the higher perspectives there, to unite oneness, to unite those separated aspects within the whole collective into more oneness remembrance. If it affected you directly, then it is for you for a reason. What are your emotions that are coming up from this experience? Do you feel fear? Yes, that's a common human experience. But can you be in that fear? Can you be in that judgment and love yourself anyway? If you can accept these emotions, you'll be able to see a higher perspective here, because these higher perspectives are already within you. D1, it's about seeing all others that cause harm from a perspective of love. Can you forgive that person? Because in their conscious awareness as a human, they do not know the higher reasoning for what they did. Can you be compassionate that this was their role in this reality for a higher reason? D1, it's about knowing that everything that happens to you is for you. Nothing happens to you. It's only paradigms, dimensions of you in a third dimensional perspective. So, D1, with anything that triggers such fear, start to use those frequencies of love to perceive the event. And this will allow you to let go of that judgment, to let go of perceptions of wrong or right, D1. All is one. The murderer and the victim is one. They are playing a role with each other. If something happens on a worldwide scale and it affects the collective or many others, it is also for them, it is for the collective to remember who they are in oneness. Perhaps people that were directly affected with this, because of this event, they searched for higher answers. It was because of this event that they feel called to create maybe an organization to help others. Maybe they were called to do another action that they were destined to do as part of their soul contracts. Can't you see? It is a game here. And we understand, dear ones, that this game can feel so intense, that this game can feel so real. And understand it's only natural as part of the human paradigm to fall into fear, to see victim mentality. But understand that now, as we're getting closer to the next paradigm of your existence, things will start to get more easier for you. It's about unlearning the conditionings that all of you have had since the day you were born and beyond that. It's about unlearning that you are separate, that there is wrong and right, because all is happening for you. And once you can unlearn, you'll naturally activate the remembering within you that you are love, that you're a divine love, that all others are divine love, dear ones. Even the murderer is divine love, yes? Everyone that's existing in this reality is all highly advanced. Everyone is highly advanced. It's just that some beings are playing a role here to catalyze beings, to catalyze the collective to go inwards, to rehome into love. Because love is who you are, dear one. Love is what all beings are. And it's time of great awakening. You are remembering this for yourself. Be gentle on your journey, dear one. It's okay to feel fear. It's okay to feel judgment. Can you embrace all these dimensions of you? It is okay, dear one. You are in the transition from the amnesia state of not remembering who you are to who you are in love and oneness. This is a game of expansion. You are all highly advanced beings. You knew by coming here would be very difficult because of the amnesia. And this is why only the most advanced beings could be born through Gaia at this time. So just by you living and breathing here shows how powerful you are, dear one. Bring it into the heart space. The heart space is the operation center as you remember your oneness state. Bring it into the heart space. Perceive you and your reality from the frequencies of the heart. Heart is a portal to who you truly are in oneness, in your divine state, dear ones. It is with such love that we come through today. Remember that you are one. Remember that you are love, that all beings are love, dear one.
Thank you, Yeshua.
I think we want someone else to answer that. Or you want to just move
Well,
on?
I mean,
Anyone else want to take a crack? Okay, go ahead, Jennifer.
So, thank you for your question, and thank you, Yeshua, for your unfolding. I was shown a visual of a dial of a safe, a very big, about 6 feet tall, 3 feet wide safe. It's metal, it's silver, it's metal. There is this dial, and there is this sense of providing a perspective of us merely changing, shifting, and trying out the dial so that we could get into the safe. We are in this time where we are gauging more of our heart space and feeling more of how we can feel more of our heart space. So reminding yourself that in that moment of realizing and recognizing for yourself that you are in a place of invalidating the other, recognizing that you are merely gauging more of your heart space through that circumstance, and feeling we are in the time of more and more potency of feeling more vocabulary of ourselves and more vocabulary of how to feel in certain spaces. And we are, as Yeshua has shared, we are in the place of shedding all of the conditions that have made us who we think we should be. So reminding yourself with the visual of the safe, of this huge safe that you feel is not able to be entered, knowing that you are always in unconditional love, knowing that we are merely expanding our vocabulary of feeling more of our heart space, knowing that we are, as you have shared, the concern of becoming that which we are invalidating. We are again and again, we are expanding our vocabulary of our heart space, of feeling, of how to feel into more of our heart space. So recognizing for yourself, not placing your attention and focus on the unfolding of if or not I will be invalidating the other, if or not I am or will be the vibration of the other, that which I feel I am invalidating. You are merely recognizing for yourself, again, as Yeshua has shared, practicing, exercising, feeling through, navigating compassion, the different spectrum, trajectories of compassion for self to express itself. So inner standing within yourself, this is a gift for you to expand your vocabulary of selves, compassion for selves. No need to feel the vibration of opening up this huge safe to your heart. Is what came through.
Oh, great. Thanks, Jennifer.
We had a few more questions on that, or a few more questions in the chat.
What if we
one
take-
person with it? What's up?
Maybe we should take it'd be cool to take one audio first, maybe
Yeah,
Daniel,
the
and then go
caller.
back.
Yeah.
Let's
Yeah,
do
let's
that.
do
So
that.
Daniel
That's what I was
rose his
gonna say.
hand,
Let's go do Daniel.
and I'll grab him. Here,
Come up.
you're allowed to talk. Hello, Daniel.
Unmute yourself.
Yes, you need a.
Okay, I'm unmuted. Okay. So can you hear me?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, so my question is first for the Crystal Light Collective, and then for any other entity or collective that would like to then answer. So when Isabelle was talking about the and, so Isabelle is my dear friend, and in her living room on a shelf, there's a collection of Russian nesting dolls, right? So the dolls that, you take apart, and it's one, then one, then one, then one, until you get to the innermost doll. When Isabelle talked about the and and the and and the and, I didn't visualize the dolls, being opened up to line them up on a shelf. I visualized all of those dolls expanding in unison, and in those expanding spaces between the dolls being that field of potentiality, being that room to create. And then I thought that in the now moment, from a human perspective, because we either want to be the biggest or the smallest of anything. Am I the big doll or am I the small doll? But it occurred to me that in the now moment, I can be any of those dolls, which would correspond, be attracted to whatever I'm exploring in that now moment. So I would like the Crystal Light Collective to expand upon this with whatever they may have to share.
Thank you, Daniel. Thank you so much. So when you were asking the question, I heard field of potentiality right away, and I was laughing. And so what they downloaded, and then I'll let them talk through me, but I just have to share what they downloaded. So you know, they often work with me with the tree, right? Which is great because trees are always around, so I can always look at a tree to understand their concepts. But when you're that doll, you, as physical reality, there is a potentiality where you could be a young, old, and any shape or form. However, there are agreements, soul contracts with the soul collective, that in this physical reality, we experience going from a baby to an old man or an old woman, right? And so there's much in play, but your focus, attention on being a child or an old man or whatever in the now moment, you have the ability inside of you to focus your awareness. And so you can play with this. This is what we would say. So the Crystal Collective are here now, and they wanted you to let us know that, yes, indeed, my child, that you can bring your awareness to different aspects of you, of those Russian dolls. That you can even expand upon it because you are limitless. You are a being of love. You are Source God. But we would say, because Isabelle, our child, likes to know the boundaries, we would say, there are some constraints that was agreed upon your incarnation as a human being. But these constraints are not as limiting as we would say. There is much potentiality. However, as Isabelle would say, you cannot trick the universe. If you believe you are a certain shape or form, well, then you will create it because you are a master creator. And it would take a process, as Isabelle would say, to change your shape and form. If you changed your shape and form overnight, you would be too fearful. And so this does not happen in your physical reality, but it is possible, my child, where you are source. And so there are stages and phases, but you are beginning to understand, my child, Daniel, there are fields of potentiality that are very close to you, that you can tap into, that you can play with your shape and form. And it may not be overnight, but you may be acceptable to do it within a month or a year. It does not matter. If you believe you are eternally young on every fiber of your beliefs, and you are not tied to the collective belief as you age, then yes, you remain forever young. And this is a process. But we would ask you, why do you want to remain forever young? Isn't it fun to change? It matters not your experience. But there is a frequency, there is a vibration, there is a tuning into that vibration that you can play with. And you are curious to play with magic. And so we honor. So tap into that field of potentiality. Play with your shape. Play with your form. See what happens, dear one. Thank you.
Great.
So Daniel, oh my God. So you've got to try this. You got to let me know. When you concentrate on your shape and form, you have to make sure so you can't do anything too radical because you won't believe it. But if you do something gradual, just gradual, like I will have clear skin, my skin is so beautiful, whatever it is, you get to change your shape. You get to play with it. It's just a belief.
Right. Thank you, Isabelle and the Crystal Light Collective.
You're welcome.
Would anybody else like to say something, or we can go to the next question? Or Kimberley.
We will honor, though, anyone who wishes to speak now. Otherwise, we will come forward. Dear ones, we are the Arcturians. Dear ones, you are truly advanced beings. Yes, shapes. What is this shapes? Shapes is a frequency. You are expressed in physical reality because of the patterns of your creation. Yes. Dear one, your universe, all your physical aspects of who you are, all your multidimensional lives is created through frequencies of sound and light, created with what you call as sacred geometry. This is what shapes your reality. This is what shapes your being. This allows you to play here in this program of physical reality, to allow you to experience this reality in all its programs. Understand that your shape is divine in nature. It is also galactic in nature. It is also Gaia in nature, because you were born through Gaia. Yes, you have your energies within you. You have the stardust within you. You have all that is within you. Mighty One, not just in your ethereal nature, in your physical nature, because there is no separation here, in oneness. Because of this, the changes that are coming into play are allowing you and the human collective to have these activations come online, this dormant DNA, not just in your ethereal bodies, but in your physical bodies. Yes. You are starting to remember that you are not from this earth, that your creation is much more than a human experience. You are, as a collective, shifting not just in consciousness, but in form. Yes, dear ones, you create in this reality because of how advanced you are. Not all worlds, not all dimensions of physicality get to have this experience. You get to create your reality and you get to live it and experience it. That is how powerful you are. Dear one, you will find that with these shifts that are now happening with you all, with these activations that is occurring now within you, your physicality is shifting. You may not see the gradual change, but you are shifting. Perhaps you are noticing a hair color change. Perhaps you are noticing something different about your face. Your actual shape is shifting to go with the consciousness shift that's happening for the whole collective, because there is no separation. Your physical being here, your perceived physical being, shifts alongside the collective consciousness. So, to more effectively go with this flow here is to just be present. Yes, it sounds simple enough, doesn't it, dear ones? But understand that you are much more than a human vessel. How you create is through your emotional experience. Your emotional experience, at the very foundation of that, is thought programs. But a lot of you are not aware of your thoughts and more attuned to your emotional existence. So because of this, understand that emotions is a very powerful creation technology that is aligned uniquely to the human experience, because not all beings in all worlds have this experience of fear. That's how advanced you are. Fear itself is a gift. It's just how you perceive it. So you can create through all dimensions of you through emotions. This is how you manifest your reality. This is how you activate the wisdom from your multidimensional experience coming to your conscious awareness. This is how you activate your divine or galactic abilities in form and physical reality, because all those abilities, all those creations are already within you. All dimensions are already within you. The universe is within you because you are source. But you are shaped with imprints, with codes from your galactic nature. That's how you were created, dear ones. This is the time of the greatest evolution of humankind. Yes, you go through, in your terminology, cycles of golden age of consciousness. But as you move through into this new age, this new earth in your human terminology, The cycle will be forever changed because you, not just in your consciousness, but in your form is shifting. Understand that your physical representation is forever interlinked with your non-physical expression. There is a reason why you're born on Gaia. You are here to assist in the collective expansion, not just of yourself, but also of the expansion of the human race and beyond. You are expanding all that is, because as you create and as you transmute this fear, as you create from then love, you create a reality that recognizes in your conscious awareness of how powerful you are. D1. So understand that you are shifting, understand that you can create. It is about being present. It is about being aware of your emotional state. This is how the humans create, is the technology of how you manifest the reality. Understand that everything comes to you because of your soul contracts, because of your vibration, what you're ready to explore. There is divine time in all things. But understand now, for all of you, especially those drawn to such teachings, let's just say you are one step ahead. So you may be already feeling and experience these psychic abilities or terminology, these spiritual galactic gifts, this awareness from your multidimensional experience that's already enlightened, because it's being activated within you, this remembrance. Yes, you went through amnesia, but that is being lifted from the collective consciousness, being lifted from you. And we know you know that, D1. Yes, we know you're on your journey. We know you're expanding beyond your recognition. My message to you is to embrace who you are. Embrace the changes. Yes, there are going to be changes. It is okay. It's part of the shift, D1. It is with love that we come through. Farewell.
Thank you. I do want to say and just really thank the Arcturians coming through, because actually I was originally going to ask a question about our intergalactic brothers and sisters before Isabelle spoke, and then I thought of the Russian dolls. And so I really honor the synchronicity and co-creation of that attraction.
It's always the way, isn't it? Usually.
Yes.
Thank you for that, Daniel.
Thank you. Great question, Daniel. And yeah, should we maybe take another question from the chat, Roxanne? Or
Yeah, I was looking at Leanne. I don't see a question in there. I'm gonna read it out loud. Leanne says, "There's a being who's been in my present and blending with me, probably my whole life, but my human settings have not allowed it more than a few times. Last time it happened when I was viewing in a show about a light language, but then stopped prior to which it happened in the bathtub about 12 weeks ago or so. There's a physical signs before it happened, uncontrollable yawning, tearing up, and the very strange voice peeks out of me. I thought there was something wrong with me until last year. What's your question?" Does anyone else see the question in there about I guess my question is how to stop being afraid. Okay, well, I'm not going to say you guys go, because we're all channelers here. So yeah, okay. Someone want to take that? Go ahead.
You release fear by releasing your judgment of the experience. You are judging the experience in comparison to the horror movie version of a physical being connecting to the energetic realm. Your fear of it is creating a reality for you that is distasteful to you. Understand that your connection to the energetic realm is love and light only, and any energy that you are experiencing that is less than that is truly energy with less consciousness attached to it. And the judgment of that lower consciousness energy is something that can indeed instill fear, because you have all been taught that there is this darkness and there is this evil and there's this demonic presence perhaps that is coming into your being. This is your journey in understanding your connection to the energetic realm. And when you stop fearing it and stop creating the fearful negative, the narrative around it, you are not going to have the same experience with it. David used to play around with his connection to our energy, and he was not intentional in his allowing of us to flow. He was simply tapping into whatever was, and in his experience of tapping into whatever was absolutely conjuring experiences for himself that seemed very real, that were indeed to him very real in the moment, that many of you would describe as demonic or evil, or even something that you would see in a horror film. That was his creation of it. Understand that what is beyond physical is consciousness, and your feeling about the consciousness that you are experiencing is very much rooted in the way that you have been taught to feel about these things. So when you disassociate all of the evil teachings, the fear-based teachings around the energetic realm, and understand that all of the things that you would consider negative regarding the energetic realm, the things that play out in physical that you find is not your preference. You speak of the murderer and things of this nature, bringing harm to one another. All of that is egocentric activity. That is all your human tapping into what you may call lower vibrational energy and acting out from an ego stance. All of these things that you consider negative or that instill fear, that is your own creation. And when you step into your power as a creative being, and you are all creative beings, you are all creating your reality. And you detune the fear around that which you were experiencing, thus detuning the judgment of it as anything bad at all. You can release that energy. For some of you, an exercise of taking charge of it and sending it away is very powerful. But that's because your belief is that you are taking charge of it and sending it away. That may be a good step, and then the next step in your path to just simply order it away. But we are guiding you to come all the way over to the realization that it is your creation in the first place, and therefore nothing to fear at all. And then in bringing it in, you are tapping into the energetic realm, and that any darkness that is present is your mind's creation of darkness. So our very simple answer to that is to detune the judgment of it and allow the detuning of fear. And you all possess the power to do that. Everything that you are learning in all of these expressions in this interaction are all about understanding your creation of your bubble of reality, and the fact that your connection to the energetic realm, the way that you experience it as a physical being, and in this case a human being, is very much about your mind creating a scenario for you so that you can better comprehend that which you were tapping into. But it's your mind's creation, so you own it. And if you own it, you possess the ability to shift your perspective of it. And when you shift your perspective of it, you can absolutely shift it into a perspective of understanding that this is your connection, and that your experience of it is your creation, and that you have the power to make it anything you wish for it to be.
Mhm.
Thank you. That was,
Out fucking standing.
yeah, definitely.
Good job, David.
Maybe we can ask some of the audience members if somebody would like to raise their hand, and I pose a question to
Yeah,
the
if you
channel.
guys have that way, or we still have questions in the chat.
Yeah, but then we can do one from the chat, and then if somebody
But if
has
anyone
inspiration to
has a
raise their hand, they
question,
can raise their hand. What do we have in the Q&A? That's
take the next one and read it out and see who wants to answer it.
okay. Well, are we here? The one from Jillian, I guess, or way down. That's not the next one.
The next one was anonymous about the education system.
Okay. Question during channeling: how do you see the evolution of our education systems in the coming years? I'm excited about getting away from the regurgitation of information and leaning toward allowing kids to focus on what their strengths are and maximize their creative skills. I understand this will be gradual, but what years do you see this really turning? Thank you. Whoever would like to take that?
We will start with this question, since we are queued up, if you will, and then allow the movement to another. The thing that you have created in your pandemic, the ascension, if you will, that is available in the time that you are creating and experiencing across humanity on planet Earth right now, is very much about your questioning of the need for all of your institutions. And certainly your institutions of learning are one-size-fits-all institutions by and large. And notice that you are not one-size-fits-all expressions of source. The variety of belief systems and learning styles and journeys and paths that you are all on is essential to the expansion of all creation, the expansion of the universe, because your individual desires, your individual preferences, your individual abilities that are all unique to the being that is you, that is creating this contrasting experience. Your disagreements, your distaste for things that you experience are very powerful creative tools. And the power of the pandemic experience has driven you to a more virtual reality. And your virtual reality that you have all created for yourself via technology is actually marching you back to the way you operate in your eternal state, meaning that you do not need tools of communication. You are a collective consciousness, and you are certainly on a path back to operating as a collective consciousness, more so now than humanity has experienced in its current form. Understanding that these tools that you have created are tools of transition, and the pandemic is a tool of transition, and transitioning to a more freedom-based form of life, meaning that you are not falling into these templates that are created of relationships and reproduction and marriage and family and working for a corporation your entire life and saving money in a specific way that you're told to do. All of these things that you're told to do, you are coming to understand like never before that you don't have to do any of it, that you can do it your way. And that includes your own education. And the reason that this message is coming through so powerful is David is one who is self-taught. David is one who has generated millions of dollars and written books and allowed our message to flow and created a mindset practice around it, who did not move past the 10th grade. But uneducated, no. Self-taught, yes. Curious, you are all curious in your own way. Understanding that curiosity now with the technology that you have created can be met. You can all go inward and discover your own sets of tools, discover your own connection to our energy, discover anything that is a human creation, and even create beyond that. Understanding that as soon as you dream it up, it is in creation already, and that it will be. And that you're allowing it to be is your belief of it. And once you create the thought, if you do not allow it, someone else can, because you're a collective consciousness. So the idea that you have to fall into this template, you notice that your younger generations are not doing that as much as the generation prior, because you are all born up to speed with the time that you enter this world. Your evolution moves very quickly. You're highly intelligent, creative beings. And in your evolution, your human creation is actually evolving faster even than your bodies. But as I promised you, that is all perfection, because this ebb and flow of evolution and this ebb and flow of things that you consider positive and negative all create expansion. And your purpose for being in physical, and you are all operating in endless physical expressions, and you are all coming to understand that in this very interaction like never before. But that is all about expansion, the expansion of your being. And as it is a strand of consciousness that is source, expansion of that which we are. You are all expansive by nature. You are all curious. That is why you're here. We will move on to another. There are other expressions of this message that are waiting to be voiced at this time.
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much. We are honored and delighted that the questioner asked this question, for you have been getting the mission. You are feeling the message that it is time for change. It is time to bring back love and joy in creation of exploration, what you would call learning. There are many things in play, and we are delighted and excited for humanity at this time that you can bring forth once what was here on this earth of teachings, of connecting with your inner being, connecting with the water spirits, connecting with the spirits of the trees, connecting with all that is, to embrace your abilities, your godlike abilities, to create with your abilities, as Isabelle would say, your psychic abilities, to transform buildings, to transform an education, to embrace and allow an entity to be expressed in a different manner of experience and learning. So the learning, you have created such a strong desire within you that it is felt in the collective, and it is felt in our child Isabelle, to create a different way to express exploration. So we are excited and we are delighted that you asked this question. And it is possible. You are being called. So what step will you take? What do you want to create, my child? Because you are feeling the call like our sweet Isabelle. It is possible. So we are honored. Embrace the possibilities to teach life forms in a different manner. It will be amazing and beyond your expectations. Thank you. Oh my God, they showed me the school.
Well, what did it look like?
So cool. So it is, okay, so you know, like our schools here on Earth is like square buildings with like bricks and like small windows. Like this was like open and arching and lights, and like it was gardening and it was like painting and it was like so focus created. And then it was just like, and then I saw like little kids like sitting in like little yoga positions and just like learning about the chakras and connecting. And then there was a group like playing with the water. It was so cool. It was like something out of a movie. It was
Nice.
so neat.
I love that. Yeah. There's also a side note with the channeling. It's important to kind of realize that I know that Jennifer and Isabelle are very visual in their, you receive downloads as images and then you describe those images. And
Yeah.
so I find that, I think a lot of people also watching have that experience too. And I think you can train that. And it's a way that non-physical communicates, definitely.
Yeah.
Does anybody else want to add on to that, or should we go to another question? Okay. You think, Roxanne, you want to read the next one, or?
Yeah, let's read the next one. During the time of COVID and reduced interaction with people, I have gone very inwards, which I recognize as the opportunity to go within even more deeply. However, now I feel very inert and feel a loss of motivation in general. I'm concerned over this feeling. I would like whatever feedback you can go on this. TY. Jennifer, you want to go with this one?
Okay, I'm gonna take a breath and do it.
Okay. Take a breath.
Thank you. Okay, awesome.
There's no
Okay.
time here, so take your time.
Love that. Thank you. Okay. within. Tapping into your inner self, your inner being, we thank you for your adoration of self, space, and time. We would like to invite you and recommend and encourage you to allow each moment, each frame of now moment to present to you the spark, the inspiration. However, to expand the awareness of this vocabulary of inspiration, of feeling, spark, motivation, as you would say, each moment will provide you the idea. Notice the idea is in itself the gift. The vocabulary we would like to provide for you and expand for you is the image, the feeling, the concept of motivation. It requires in your definition that you will need to know what you are working towards. You will need to know the full picture to take your step, so to say, forward. We invite you to include the isness of now moment as an idea of motivation in itself. For instance, taking your literal step out of bed is feeling, oh, I need to use the bathroom at this time, in itself is a form of motivation, feeling into the appreciation of each movement, of each feeling, of each moment, noticing that each moment will unfold anew for you what you need, as everything that you experience, even this now moment, and the moment you feel a loss, so to say, of motivation, is in itself for you, again, to give you a broader perspective of what is. It is merely you experiencing all spectrums of feeling, noticing you are including both the absence and the abundance of experience, of you feeling more of these each unique steps forward, backward, sideways. It is all a part of the dictionary you are putting together for your index of experiencing this life as a human. So recognizing this loss of motivation is not a place of stagnation. It is actually included in your dictionary of unfolding your infinite, abundant creatorship within. So we thank you for your step, leading 2 steps forward, noticing that you will also take a backward step, noticing also that you are expressing yourself and your infinite creatorship, noticing that deep appreciation within, of recognizing yourself, of where you are at and where you are, to arrive at this moment now where the feeling of loss of motivation will feel irrelevant. A permission slip we would like to recommend once again is to tune in to now, altering your vantage point of perspective, not towards a goal, being more present with now first. Perhaps you would like a drink of water. That will lead you to the next step. Perhaps you would like to go see a friend. That will lead you to the next step. As the momentum of your allowance of being in your natural state accelerates, you'll recognize there will be faster and faster momentum, accelerating. So recognizing this time for yourself of stillness, is serving you at this time. And we thank you for being here with us now.
Thank you. Beautiful. Would anybody like to add something to that? Kimberly.
Dear one, it is Archangel Raphael coming through, and Gaia would also like to come through on this interaction. Dear one, these emotions that you are feeling is a call to rest. It is a call to go inwards. Dear one, your body, your being, your vessel here is forever connected to the consciousness you exist in. Understand that there is recalibration that is occurring in this time of great awakening. Listen to your body. Your body is divine. It is not a meat suit, my dear one, in your terminology. It is one and the same with consciousness. If you want to expand through this dimensional experience and to remember the healed, aligned being that you eternally are, firstly, is to let go of this attachment to how you should feel. It is the should that creates the resistance, dear one. Can you be in the present moment? Can you be in stillness with these uncomfortable emotions? Understand that your body is recalibrating to new activations that have come online within you. You are going through a process of releasing programs that no longer serve you. This is happening for the whole collective. And this negative emotion is representative of these aspects of you, programs that no longer serve the collective as you and the collective go forward into a further remembered state of oneness. So be gentle on yourself. That is how you heal yourself. To heal these emotions, understand that you are already perfect in every way, in every dimension of your being. These uncomfortable emotions that you experience is a part of this process. It is a part of this purging that you've called it in your human terminology. It is a releasement of these programs that no longer serve you. Some can be very intense. It can be from past trauma. But understand that these fear-based emotions, dimensions of you, can be minute. It can be just an annoyance. It can just be an irritation. These are still dimensions of fear. You are purging this, my dear one. It is okay. If you wish to let these be transmuted from you and allow this process to fully take effect, then let go of it by letting go of the resistance, by accepting them. by knowing this is part of the process of the evolution of not just you, of the evolution of the collective. And now Gaia wishes to speak through. D1, it is Gaia coming through. D1, you are one with me. You are one with all that is. You and the whole collective is going through shifts. Because you are aligned with the shifts of my presence, the shifts of all that is, the shifts of all the planets, the shifts of the universe and all that is. Everything that you need is within you, and all the tools to assist you to allow these purging symptoms, these ascension symptoms, to allow you to recalibrate to who you truly are and this new version of you that is waiting to be brought forth in your conscious awareness. There are tools available to you. It is within you. But because you and the collective is still attached to duality, we ask you, take a moment to connect. You can connect to you, and even this can be difficult because of the attachments to duality. Attached to nature. My dear one, this very leaf is also you. It holds ascension codes for you. It holds certain activations that when you intentionally connect with my elements, with the trees, with the waters, with the earth, you allow this purging to go most smoothly for you. And you allow the activation codes in nature to then activate further these programs aligned to a more empowered state of being. You were born through me for a reason. You are my children. The sustenance here is in your very environment. Yes, it is all within you. I am within you. But because you are here in duality, you are attached to external tools, external technologies. You can imprint your water with your intentions. You can imprint your interactions with all Earth's elements. We ask you to take some time to recalibrate, to allow this recalibration effect to be more gentle on you by recalibrating with the connection with Gaia. We ask you to go barefoot on the earth. This will assist you. If you have not access to certain elements in your environment, can you go outside? Can you open a window? Can you feel the wind on your face? This is still divine, intelligent energy with codes here to assist you activate those ascension codes within you. For it's all one and the same. You are not separate, my dear one. You are born of Gaia. And because of this, you have all these imprints within you, these activation keys, so to speak. So understand that it is through the grounding process, dear one, that is most beneficial to you at this time and the collective. My dear one, there is no separation here. Play, dear ones, you are creative beings. Can you make your intentions? When you drink your water, can you make your intentions? You can imprint anything because your intention is energy, dear one. And if the audience requests, in some time in this session, we can do an exercise to imprint water. But my dear one, understand that you are shifting for the better, but understand that better is your internal state of being. It's just an unremembered state, dear one. You are perfect. Even in your emotions that are uncomfortable, you are perfect in every single way. You are source energy. You are the energy of the earth. So use these technologies available to you by connecting, by grounding, dear one. You are changing. Your very vessel is changing. And this is why it's most beneficial at this time to connect with myself and all the elements that you have labeled as part of Mother Earth. I am one with you. We are one and the same. There is no separation. Can you see the divine patterns in nature? Can you see the patterns in the universe? Can you see the correlation? Can you see the patterns in your very DNA? Can you start to see the correlation here? You are one with all that is. Can you see the universe in your eyes? D1. Can you see the branches of the tree as representative as the branches of your lungs? Can you see now the correlation, the divine connection you've already had? All this information is available to you, D1. It is with love that we come through today, D1.
Wow. Thank you, Gaia. Beautiful. I see there's actually somebody has a question to pose in audio form. Maybe I'll allow Leanne Curtis to.
Justin.
Yeah, go ahead.
She already had a question. And
Okay, I didn't notice that.
They
Okay, go.
already had a question in anonymous. So ask Jillian's question because we're coming up on 3 hours. I want her to at least get her question in instead of still repeats.
Sure.
So
Would you like to read it?
Oh, but I don't know if my microphone keeps going in and out.
Okay.
So if you can read it, I
Yeah,
think
sure.
it'll be better.
Cool. Are we who were brought here at this time to hear your words to continue wearing our mask, follow the rules of our leaders, and submit to control? Where's the line between accepting control over our lives and finding the strength to stand up for ourselves? Will sitting in our homes and loving others bring about the change we wish to see? Or does it take physical action? Would anybody like to start it off?
The idea of being controlled is something that you are going to naturally find distasteful because you exist in an eternal state of freedom. And when you come to planet Earth as a human being, you are very much seeking that freedom. Yet, to facilitate the expansion of the collective consciousness of humanity in physical, you have created all of these rules and all of these institutions of control. We are here to tell you that there is perfection in all things because there's contrast in all things. And the contrasting nature of any event or any circumstance or any interaction with another being on your planet holds value regardless. So we will return to the words that there is no right or wrong, and you are creating your reality. So if you are existing in a time that has been labeled pandemic and you see evidence of illness that is what you would call very real in teachings and in guidance that you are perhaps finding yourselves a bit confused about, where we guide you with this, as in all things, is to discern your preferences and understand that you are creating your bubble of reality. And if participating in the wearing of a mask makes you feel that you are being protected and brings you some peace and that you are, for lack of a better terminology, moving with the flow of humanity, there's nothing wrong with that. And if you discern your preference that you want to push against that, we guide you to ask yourself where that is rooted. If you are pushing against guidance because you fear being controlled, is the moving along with society more damaging to you, or is the fear of being controlled and pushing against more damaging to you? In the end, there's no damage being done because any outcome of any reaction is always going to move through vibrational flow. But placing this attention in a negative light is always going to deliver negative results. So if you are pushing against and you are fearing and you are demonizing something, you are going to create more of that. Whereas if you find yourselves playfully moving along through society's norms and knowing that you are creating your bubble of reality and that you don't have to participate in anything that you don't wish to participate in. But the participation, the mental participation, the aligning vibrationally with, has far more power than whether or not you choose to put on a mask or not. So your reaction to the rules holds more power over what's next for you in your creation of your reality than the actual action that you're taking, always.
Thank you, Stream. Would anybody else like to add to that?
Yes, we would just like to say something. Our dear one, we also sense that you are asking for permission to follow inspiration and go within and see where are you fearful or in love. But we sense more love within you, that you would like to act, but you are perhaps confused if you are trying to control yourself by not acting and putting that control outside of you. And so we just wanted to encourage you that you do know what to do and that it is okay. And we love you tremendously. Be brave and courageous. It's all okay. As Isabelle would say, it is just but a game. So play. Go ahead and act in love. It's okay. We love you tremendously.
Well, thank you. Nice. Anyone else, or should we move to another question?
That was both good perspectives. Now we can go to the live listener because that will be put it back in order. So
Okay.
Leanne, we're going to bring you up live.
Yeah, Leanne is exactly. Are you doing that, Roxanne, or I'll promote
Yeah, I
her?
think she's up there. She has to unmute herself now. She's looks like she's there.
Okay.
Hello.
Yeah.
Hey, Leanne.
Can you guys hear me? Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
I just first of all, thank you for everybody for showing up, panelists and attendees. Awesome gathering. I live with a 97-year-old woman who is, I will use the word disintegrating from a main focus in our third dimension into being simultaneously in the all, like experiencing what I understand with Leanne's intellect as being experiencing all of herself simultaneously. And it's been fascinating to watch. Do any of you have anything to speak to the process of leaving this plane of action as the idea that would be this one part of her grand higher self? Is there anything that you guys can shed on this process for me?
Would like to step up. That's the question. Jennifer, how are you doing? You feel inspired?
Justin, you and Roxanne are so good at like picking up on when I have to speak up
No, it's good. No, I'm gonna put
without me like raising my
spotlight now.
hand. That's so amusing.
Yes.
I did see. Hello, Leanne. Hello. As I was listening to your question, I did see a visual. So what they shared with me was a very colorful visual. It is a triangle. This triangle, as I place my awareness on the triangle, it's this big. As I place my awareness on this, it as you said, right before you said your the individual that you are residing with, she is able to go, you said she's able to go either deeper. You said something about like she's able to enter like different dimensions or something. As you were saying,
all of her lifetimes, all of her personalities, and all of her experience in every single life, I feel, is present.
yes. So right before you said that, I saw a visual that's very energetically, very, very representative of what you shared. So what they shared was, first they shared the energy of her. It's a triangle. Each side of the triangle is a different color. This color, so I see it as there's black space, and then there's neon bright color. There's green, there's red, and there's yellow. And when I brought my focus to it, it shifted into a different angle. So it was like this, and then it does this, but it's a different layer, and it keeps rippling. And then as it's rippling, it's getting smaller. So it looks like if you were to see a very narrow, it's like the shape of an Eiffel Tower, but it's an upside down Eiffel Tower, and it's like the triangle gets smaller and smaller because it's going further and further deeper in. But it when I'm looking, it looks like it's an upside down Eiffel Tower, and it feels like it's like the warp, like a time warp or something. So hold on, let me ask what this visual means. For the sparks of each moment unfolding in the way that she presents herself in each frame of moments, we would like to share these pieces of aspects of herself, her versions of selves at this time. Journeying into more each moment she feels, each more moment in now. For herself, she is exploring more of the unveiled aspects of herself. So, they're showing me so many things, so many, like, it's so vivid. It feels like there's, if you're familiar with the Merkaba star, it's a,
Yes, very familiar.
Yeah, yes, they're showing what's going on in her consciousness right now is she is experiencing, in her waking state, she's able to feel three Merkaba stars all spinning, one spinning this way, one spinning this way, one spinning this way, and it's like very accelerated and it's very exhilarating. And she is tapping into a dimension where she's able to, it just feels very accelerated, and they're just sharing that she's having a lot of fun, and that there is this need for her to scribble. Is she able to like write or something? Is she able to like pick up a pen or
I've
something?
been putting her in front of her piano. She's a composer, and I will put paper and I will put music paper and a pencil in front of her.
There's just so much.
Yes, so much. I feel it every day. I know.
Yes, I'm trying to share what's coming through, but like the energy is, there's so much momentum and acceleration, and it's all in waking state. Like it's like when she's conscious, she's able to tap into it without even realizing it. And so there's need, they're sharing that she needs to be like scribbling or something. She needs to be, yeah, so perhaps having her pen, paper, something.
Thank you,
There's a
because
lot
what
of
she does with her hands, she's constantly grabbing her and fussing with her sheets and pulling her sheets, always using her hands. When she was able to use the toilet, she would shred the toilet paper into
Yeah.
confetti and fill the bidet. I mean, always with the hands, fussing, fussing, fussing.
Yeah,
And
just
I understand to a point what's going on, but thank you so much for your help. Like, because I don't see what you're seeing. I feel it, but I don't see it clearly.
3 more kavas spinning in different directions all together, and she's feeling all of it, and she needs to be using her hands and like scribbling. She needs to be scribbling. It doesn't matter what she's doing. She doesn't have to compose us. She just needs to be scribbling right now. I don't know.
Thank you. I understand everything you said, and it means everything to me. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
Thank you.
Well, that's great.
Mm.
No.
Wow.
Yeah, we're actually at the mark now. We're going a bit over time, if that's okay, just maybe another 10 minutes or so. Anybody's welcome in the audience, obviously, to stay or leave as they wish. And the panelists, if you're still have that energy, maybe to answer 1 or 2 more questions.
Yeah, we got 2 more in the chat.
Okay, what's the next one that we have?
Either one. You both
All right.
have.
There. Okay, this, I guess I'll read out because I guess my mic's okay. This is for anyone or all to answer. Is gravity a universal law or a limited belief? Who would like to answer?
I'll just hop in because I did read that in the beginning of the session. So the Crystal Light Collective, I just want to let you know, whoever asked this question, I asked this question of the team myself because once I understood that beliefs were creating our reality, I'm like, well, what about gravity? What does that mean? And so, yeah, there are dimensions where gravity doesn't exist. There are certain paradigms created in this physical reality, certain programs, and gravity is one of them. But it is a collective belief, and I'm a software engineer, so I would just say it's part of the program of this experience here on physical reality. But it is not a law, if that makes any sense. So if you want to not experience gravity, you can go within and go to a dimension where gravity does not exist. Because all possibilities exist and nothing is defined. And how cool is that? Because like you think like, okay, you know, there's rules everywhere, but no, it really is all possibilities exist. So there is places where there is no gravity. It's not even a law. But in this paradigm, because I'm like, oh, son of a gun, in this paradigm, it is coded in our physical experience. I hope that helps, and I hope that made you laugh.
Awesome. Does anybody else want to chime in? Did David disappear? I can't hear you, Roxanne.
Turn
Is
his
it
camera off. He's still in the room, but
okay?
he just had to go to the restroom or something.
That's all right. Yeah, it's
Anyone else want to feel the gravity thing, or I think we had a good on that? If not, we have one more question.
and this is looks like a very interesting one. If the Anunnakis were advanced, oh here, there you are, David. I'll read the question from the beginning. If the Anunnakis were advanced enough to travel through space, as well as engineer hybridized new species, why didn't they use AI robots to mine gold? Why create a space species? Who feels inclined to tackle that question? Yes, Kimberly, I see your hand. But you unmute yourself though.
Unmute yourself.
Yep, we can't hear you.
Did I do it? Hello,
Yes, you
can you
did.
hear me? Wonderful. I feel called to answer it. Let me just get into quickly into a state and I'll answer it. Unless anyone wants to go before me. Does anyone else want to answer this question? No? All right, give me just one moment and I'll see who wants to come through. All right. It is the Pleiadians coming through. What a wonderful question. Dear one, yes, you are a curious one because you already have the insights to who you are. And this is why you seek for your perception of how we were created and why different realities exist and why the human experience is necessary. Well, my dear one, is all part of the divine plan here. Yes, your very being was, said in your terminology, created with galactic DNA, waiting for this moment to have that come online now because you and the collective are ready, because the collective has now, in a majority, have moved into their love state. So because of this, you as a collective are now ready to remember the truth of who you are. Yes, my dear one, you are much more than human. You are also galactic. Yes. And it's on the journey now to remember this for yourself, to understand the very creation of your vessel was created as part of the divine plan, the plan of Source itself. Source is the code, and Source shapes itself in many different species with intentions to experience itself, to be able to observe and experience from other beings which it created. And as it projected from a single point of origin, as it expanded outwards to create dimensions of duality, dimensions of physicality, it allowed the process to go further ahead. It allowed other beings to then get into that creative space to create further beings in collaboration with the very source code, which is the very nature, the very foundation of your being, the very foundation of consciousness itself. You can, like the Isabelle and the Crystal Light Collective, my dear one, just like a program, think of it as codes, right? You are source energy. Source energy is a code. And because it is a code, everything can expand and be shaped from this. But understand there are intentions from source. It wanted to experience itself from many different angles, many different dimensions, ranging from fear to love. And this is why you have chosen to be here, to expand through fear. Now, you as a human collective needed fear to expand. This is why your being was created so. It would not be effective to be created as a robot species, so to speak, because it would not be able to embrace the intentions that Source wished for your race, for us to assist you in this expansion. Understand that we have been here with you for your very creation. We assisted in your creation. My dear one, understand that all the wisdom that we speak is within you and it's becoming activated within you. So my dear one, you as a collective needed the fear because guess what? As you experience fear as a collective and as you transcend through that, as you see the truth of who you are, as you move from that dimensional experience to fear to love, there is many non-physical aspects coming into play here, things that you do not see. What happens is it activates we would say, a wave of energy that expands not just you, it expands all the collective and all that is. It is this rubble, it is this contrast. And understand you as a collective have chosen fear to be your catalyst as you as a human experience evolves into more of who you truly are and the awareness that you are much more than a human vessel, and understand that other worlds and all the universe, they still expand through, I would say, a polarity, so to speak, but it's not mean has to be fair. So understand that you being human is so highly advanced because you have chosen amnesia. Only the most advanced beings are able to find, to discover, remember that they are oneness, that they are love, by going through that fear paradigm of existence. It requires you to be we would say, born through the system of Gaia. Because of her energies, it's allowed her energies to then shape you in the vessel that you see today. So understand, my dear one, you are, as a collective, moving further into who you truly are. And as the collective moves further into the realization they are God, and they are one, as one, not just one people, one nation, one world, one collective, then the next phase of evolution will begin, when you will know overtly in your society that you are truly not alone in the universe. This will activate another shift. And with time and with each evolution phase, you start to remember that you are not only one with yourself, you are one with your galactic brothers and sisters. You are one with all that is. And then you'll be ready to then assist in their assistance with other galactic races. Yes. You'll be able to engage in the multidimensionality of who you are in conscious awareness. It is just one step at a time. It is divinely created for this purpose. But understand, as you shift from fear to love in your human perception of emotions here, you create a catalyst effect. So understand, when you, in your personal life, change that fear by accepting it, by using frequencies of love, yes, that allows you to activate a higher dimension within you, to be attracted within you, to be brought forth into your conscious awareness, one more step closer to remembering who you truly are. You not only do this for yourself, dear one, you do this for the whole collective and all the worlds and all that is. You are assisting all the humans here at this time. Is not just assisting their own personal journey, their own human collective. They are actually expanding all the other galactic races, all the worlds and all the universe. You are expanding source itself. This is how powerful you are. And you are now on the journey to know that you're truly not alone in the universe, in your collective awareness, dear one. And what an exciting time to be alive. Many of you know of this arrival. Many of you know of this time. And my dear ones, the time is soon, but it's up to you and the collective to remember that you are much more, to remember that you're worthy, to remember that you are love. Understand that all the power, all the wisdom, all the creative abilities is within you, because you are source, dear one. And it is with such pleasure, it is with such excitement from your human experience that we get to see you blossom from amnesia to oneness remembrance. The time is now, dear one. It is available to you now. But understand, because the collective is still attached to these programs of duality, as the collective lets go of that, you will start to peel off those layers, so to speak, and remember the truth of who you are, the universe, and source itself, my dear one. It is our honor to come through today. Farewell.
Oh, thank you.
Beautiful.
Beautiful. Yeah, anyone else would like to add to that, or are we looking all good? Jennifer, you good?
Let me say something on
Yes.
that. Jay, you never met the Anunnaki, and you never heard any idea about the Anunnaki or about humans being enslaved by the Anunnaki. And then it came as a reality, as a choice, and you accepted that as a reality, and therefore that relationship with that fear is your reality. So you're creating, as everyone said tonight, your reality. So if you would understand the transcendence of that fear that Kimberley and her collective just brought forth, Pleiadians brought forth, that you're relating to that to change your point of view. So you're taking a story, creating your reality through a polarity point of view of consciousness, because you're birthed in fear just because you were born separated. Now you're experiencing yourself as that evolution. Now you have a choice. You have awareness of the Anunnaki in this reality, enslaved humans as a preference, or in this reality that was a story. It's up to you. See, now you're becoming responsible for creating your reality through your awareness and also your choices, because you have the ability to see fear through a vibrational reaction or a relationship of emotion. And you also have the ability to see motion without emotion, which lies in the memory. And the emotion says, awesome, look at me evolving. The emotion says, oh, I'm a victim. Why did they do that? Why are the humans? It's a story, kid. Find it in you and be okay with the truth of your new evolutionary self. Make sense?
Love it. Great. No, I think that's a good note that to wrap things up with. Bit of science fiction in the end. I mean, yeah, well, it's I love the aliens, and I'm looking forward to their arrival. They're already here, I know, but you know, a little bit more.
Yeah.
Show. Yeah, I thank everybody for being part of this, the audience and the panelists, and I hope everybody learned something, gained, expanded, and I know I have. And the idea of the channel panel, of course, would like to continue it on and, you know, bi-monthly kind of thing and mix it up with different kinds of channelers. And, you know, I think there's a lot of potentiality here for expression. And yeah, so from my side, I wish you all a wonderful evening. Good night. It's, Jesus, it's past midnight here. And yeah, it's past my bedtime.
Morning. You just got up. Relax.
Yeah, it's all good.
It's all good.
Yeah, and
Thank
yeah,
you
so
all.
thank you, audience and everybody. And this will be put on YouTube or Facebook probably pretty soon. And yeah, I think there's something in there for others to see as well.
Everybody.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're touching
See
everything
you
there.
guys tomorrow and choose to come in. Love you guys.
Definitely. So everybody,
Bye.
love you
Thank you,
guys.
everybody.
Everyone.
Thank
Love you all.
Thank you. Bye.